everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So in this particular video, I'll talk about the complete data science roadmap from end to end. I know that a lot of students have requested to me regarding this roadmap as well. In the previous video, I have talked about the DSA data structure algorithms roadmap, and I hope that everyone have already watched that video as well. So let's get started. I have listened a lot of from lot of students that is it possible for a fresher to get a data science job, right? Is it feasible? Because maximum industries demands experienced data scientist. So the very first answer is yes, it is possible. But the way you are preparing your resume, the way you are approaching towards interviews is completely depends on you. So let me talk all those stuffs in this particular video, right? So before getting started with the complete roadmap of data science, what do you think are the prerequisites to understand this data science terminology or the domain inside that? So whenever I am talking about prerequisites, what are the subjects that you should know? The very first thing which I usually say, without which you can't do anything in terms of implementation, is the programming language, right? So the very first thing that you should have a good expertise on the programming language. When I'm saying programming language, preferably it will be either Python or it would be R. Usually I personally like Python programming language because it have a lot of packages that we can directly install and we can use that. We can directly call the function. It's kind of a user-friendly language, right? If your major concern is to become a good statistician, right? Because in stats, for the visualization purpose, majorly R is more preferable. So out of Python and R, if you would personally see to me that if I would have to choose one, I would go for Python. But again, it depends on the person to person. It depends on what kind of problems he or she is solving. Depending upon that, it would be good that if you have a idea about both of these programming languages, by saying that at least one programming language out of these two, you should have a good expertise on, right? So that you will never ever face any difficulty in terms of writing the code or in terms of implementation part. The second important thing that you should know is what I would say the concept of data structures and algorithms. Again, a lot of queries I have seen from a lot of students that is this DSA is important for data science? Yes, it is important. Why? Because why DSA is important? What is DSA? DSA, data structure algorithms, I usually say is basically helps us to improvise on our problem solving skills. This is the only thing that we have in DSA, right? Doesn't matter on which programming language you are using to solve that problem. But what is the kind of a logic that you're applying inside that is pretty much important, right? So DSA is something which is very much important even if you are applying for any, I would say, product-based companies. The very first round is of DSA, where they will ask you maybe 2 or 3 questions on HackerRank or the LeetCode platform, or they will have their own platform, right? But the questions are usually from easy to intermediate level. So there is another query which is asked by so many students that how much level of DSA is required for data science. So I would say that you should have a knowledge from easy to moderate level. Advanced level concepts are not expected from you, but at least easy to moderate level concepts you should know. So when you will go to LeetCode platform, you will be having the option to, select the easy level problem. You can tag that, select the moderate level problem. You can tag that and you can see that what kind of questions are there which lies between easy to moderate, right? Mainly you will see that on the very first round, the questions are maximum number of times from array or strings. And I am saying it very seriously because usually our focus is on the advanced concepts. And we don't know that these basic things also they can ask from us. And here I'm talking about very good companies, right? So why? Because maximum logics, they can be easily able to see whether you are good in problem solving skills or not with the arrays or strings concepts itself, right? So DSA is another important thing that you should know, which is easy to moderate level questions. You can practice from lead code. Again, it's my personal choice. I would say that don't go for every platform. Instead, choose one appropriate platform which fits for you. You can either go for HackerRank or HackerEarth or LeetCode or any other platform. I don't want to say that, okay, go for only this. Personally, I have used all the platforms and I like LeetCode the most. Right. The third important thing after the DSA is mathematics. Now, again, this thing is again quite very important to understand that maths plays a very crucial role whenever we are learning the subjects of data science, whether it be machine learning, whether it be deep learning, whether it be computer vision, anything. In maths, what are specific things? In maths, the statistics part, you should know pretty well, right? In maths, the portion of probability and random variables, you should know pretty well. Probability and random variables, right? Apart from that, the matrix theory, so that you will be able to understand that how the computations will happen internally with respect to the matrix, right? And the concepts of linear algebra, calculus, right? So these concepts you should know. Now, at what level you should know all these concepts? Again, I'm not saying that go for masters in mathematics because maths is important. I'm saying that at least whatsoever concepts you have studied in your, so see, probability, matrix, linear algebra or calculus or stats, we have already studied in our lower classes and in our bachelors as well, right? There is a subject of engineering mathematics, at least that I have, and the discrete mathematics in bachelors. I think that is a kind of a curriculum which every college usually followed. So we do have all these subjects already. It's just that we need to revise all those things, that how differentiation happened, how the gradient thing is working, how basically we can calculate the probability, what is the concept of conditional probability, how we can find out the determinant of a matrix, right? How we can do the transpose of a matrix, how we can do the addition or subtraction in a matrix, how we can do matrix multiplication, what is the concept of population versus sample, what is the concept of z-score. So all these stuffs we already have studied in our lower classes, whether you can talk about 11th, 12th or in bachelors, right? Those concepts you can revise. On top of that, if you will try to see, there are very few stuffs which are pending, which I will cover up in very soon in my own YouTube channel. I'm starting the mathematical series for data science in my YouTube channel, and I will try to upload the videos which are required to understand the concepts related to data science. But anyhow, what I'm saying is that when you will go for learning the machine learning algorithms or deep learning architectures, there you basically require the internal intuition behind each and every algorithm. Implementation wise, so it's very easy that you have to just import the sklearn package in Python and then you can just call the model which you want to implement. But it's not machine learning. Machine learning is that to get the correct idea and the intuition internally how it is working, right? For that, maths is pretty much important, right? After that, what other thing is left? The last thing which I want to talk about here is SQL. Structured Query Language. Structured Query Language. Basically, the SQL will help you to see the queries, which will help me to extract the data from a DBMS, from a database, right? If suppose I want to extract any kind of a data from a database, what I will do? I will just apply the query. But if I don't know how basically we can apply the query, what is select command, what is where, what is from, how it is running internally, how we can update the data inside the database. So all these things we should know. So for that, you should have a complete understanding of structured query language. So these four things, I would say, are the very first prerequisite, I would say, to understand the concepts clearly in a crystal clear manner in case of a data science, right? Whether programming language is the very first thing, second thing is DSA, third thing is maths, fourth thing is SQL, right? Now suppose once you will be able to get an idea of all these subjects, and I would say that whatever I have written here, the four things, these things you already have in your bachelor's. In your bachelor's, you already done with the programming language. Maybe you didn't done with Python or R, but if you have a knowledge of any one programming language, you can easily grab other programming languages within a month, right? DSA, we already did. Mathematics part, we already did, right? Maybe not in a complete sense, but at least a sense of it we have. SQL, we already did, right? So nothing new I am talking about here. Everything you already know, and those stuffs which you think you don't know, start preparing for that. That is my advice for everyone. Now, once you will be able to get these subjects, what is the complete life cycle of a data science project? So basically the very first step that we have in case of a data science life cycle is to get an understanding of. So first of all, what we usually do is we do data acquisition, where what we try to do, we try to extract the data from multiple sources. For example, the data is present in some of the database, which is a SQL based or NoSQL based. I need to extract that data. So data acquisition is something which is required. Once you will be able to extract the data, so obviously when I'm saying data acquisition, that's why I'm saying SQL is important, right? After that, data pipeline or data preparation, completely you have to make one complete pipeline so that if suppose you will be having features, the columns and the target value, it should be mapped properly with each other before you will apply any kind of algorithm on top of that. For that, you need to maintain a complete pipeline. So data pipelining is another step that is very crucial, right? After that, the third important step is the EDA, which we called as exploratory data analysis. This is something which is pretty much important step, exploratory data analysis. So here you are in very much depth, analyze your data, right? What analysis? Suppose, do you have any null values or not inside your data or not, right? Do you have any outliers in your data or not, right? What is the maybe mean, median or mode of your columns that is provided in the data set? If there is any categorical data that you have inside the features, how you will handle that? So handling of that part and so on. So majorly for this EDA part, properly if you want to go in very much depth, again you require the knowledge of stats, right? That's why statistics, I would say, come into picture. Here SQL, right? So now in EDA part you will try to basically remove all the null values. You will try to remove the outliers, or you will try to shorten down the outliers. You will try to do the visualization using different packages or the libraries that we have, right? In case of a EDA. So here mainly you are trying to analyze the data that you have. Once you do the proper analysis, you do the proper EDA of that, and this is the step where you will spend maximum of your time in your project, right? Because once you will clean your data properly, after that, it would be sure that your results are also good. But if suppose you are not spending a lot of time here, then obviously you will get a negative results at the very end. After that, the next important step is something which we called as data modeling. So you will be able to clearly do the EDA part, that is fine. But after that, you need to, everything is set up, pipelining is done. You have the features, corresponding to that you have the target values, right? Now you are applying data modeling algorithms here. You can apply all the whatsoever depending upon the problem statement, whether you are trying to solve any classification problem, or you're trying to solve any regression problem, or you are completely differently, you are solving unsupervised kind of machine learning algorithms. Here you will apply ML algorithms depending upon the scenario, right? You will apply ML algorithms depending upon the scenarios. Apart from that, you can, once suppose you are done with the ML algorithms, you can then move forward towards the deep learning neural networks, whatever architectures that we have, right? For that, you need to have the knowledge of TensorFlow or PyTorch, right? So, but before that, try to get complete with all the ML algorithms that we have. For all the regression task, or I would say all the supervised machine learning task mainly, and all the unsupervised machine learning task, we have a separate kind of set of algorithms. So be aware of all those different kinds of algorithms that we have, right? By saying that, don't ever go only for the implementation, that okay, I know how I can implement linear regression or logistic regression or KNN classifier or KNN regressor or SVM and many more. So what I'm saying is that don't go only for like implementation. I know implementation is very easy, everyone knows that. What you need to know is that how mathematically these things are working. There again, the mathematical concepts will play a very important role, right? You will be differentiate yourself among others in terms of these concepts, because implementation wise, everyone knows nowadays how we can do the implementation, because it's very easy via calling the sklearn package. Similarly, when you're going for deep learning algorithms or the architectures, you should know how basically, differentiation is happening, what's the mathematical intuition behind that, how basically the optimizers are working, what is the different kinds of activation functions we have, at what point of time, what activation function we can use. So I can't write everything here. I am speaking, that's why. So please take those things as a note. What I am trying to say here is that don't see the things as a black box. Try to go internally as much as you can, and that you can do only when you will spend a lot of time on this part, right? I have spent almost 2 years in learning these things while doing my masters, and even after spending those 2 years, still I am not sure of all those concepts. Why? Because these domains are too vast. There's a lot, I would say, which is there inside all these things. But what we can do from our part is that we can try to spend as much time as we can in our self-learning. Try to learn wherever you can. The people who can survive in this domain are those who are very eager to learn. That's the only funda I would say in this particular domain, because you have to spend on a daily basis a lot of time, because a lot of research is going on, right? You have to know that how basically we can see the research papers, how we can understand the research papers, how we can do the implementation by seeing the research papers, right? So all these stuffs you should know pretty well. Start with the machine learning, I would say, and then step by step jump towards other domains of deep learning, NLP, and so on, right? After that, suppose you are done with the data modeling part, where again the mathematical concepts I would say is pretty much important. Then you will obviously do the model evaluation. See, you done the modeling, but how do you know that your model is giving the results in a perfect way or not, right? On your test data, is your model is behaving well or not? That is, you need to evaluate with the help of a model evaluation matrix. There we have accuracy, precision, recall. Again, the confusion matrix is the term which we used for the classification purpose, and with the help of which we will be able to evaluate all these metrics which I am talking about. Apart from that, in regression, we have different evaluation metrics. So what I am saying is that the next step is to understand that how we can evaluate our models, right? After that, The last thing which I would say is the model deployment. Now, one simple thing here to understand is that we as a data scientist know that, okay, we are applying this algorithm, we are writing a code of model.predict, and we are passing a test data, we will be able to get the results. Maybe it's a classification problem which is predicting that whether a person is cancerous or not, 0 or 1. Now, my model is saying 0, it means that person is not cancerous, and when my model is saying 1, the person is cancerous. I know these things. But as a user who is not aware about all these concepts, who is not aware about the predict function, right? So what we want a user interface page, maybe an HTML page, which will be able to give me the prediction when I will just pass the input data. When user enter the features of the data that we have, my model internally will work. So I will use those model weights only to go for the prediction. So it will predict me. Here you should have so many deployment techniques, platforms like Streamlit, Flask, Django. So all these things you should be having the awareness about. So step by step, if you will start with the concept of how basically we can extract the data and we can pipeline it. Followed by, in EDA, you will learn about the stats part, how stats is really important in this particular domain. After that, even not in stats, there is something called as inferential statistics. Again, it's a different thing where we are doing a hypothesis and we are trying to prove that. Again, that plays a very important role. When I will try to create a separate session for that, I will go in very much depth for that. But what I want to say here is that stats again plays a very important role. Then all the machine learning algorithms followed by different domains, whether it be deep learning or NLP based algorithms, where we will talk about not only the implementation but also the mathematical intuition behind that. After that, we will come towards the model evaluation part, where we will see that, okay, if we are able to train our model, my model is able to give me the predictions also on the test data. How can we evaluate that? So we have suppose 10 different algorithms. All are giving the predictions. How can I compare that, okay, this model 1 is behaving better as comparable to model number 2? That is done by the model evaluation thing. And the last thing for the user interface, where the model deployment will come into picture. So this is the complete, I would say, flow of learning the data science. Always go for the first of all prerequisites. Try to learn Python, DSA, maths, as well as I would say SQL. After that, start trying to apply all these concepts in the life cycle step by step, and then you will see you will be able to not only implement that, you will be able to understand all those stuffs which you are having in data science. Start with a basic thing. As I always said in every particular topic, it's not only about data science or DSA. Whatever you are learning, in whatever domain you are, start from basic. Try to do the implementation step by step. You remember when you have learned the very first programming language, I don't know whether it be C or C++, I remember my time when I will be able to print hello world. That happiness is something which I remember today as well. Now when I am solving any complicated problem also, I don't feel that much happy the way I was happy when I was able to print hello world. So that's why I am saying you will feel a lot of happiness, a lot of peace in you when you will start doing the things from the very basic and then step by step approaching towards the complicated problems. The problem is that the people around you, maybe you create in your head FOMO kind of a thing that, okay, everyone knows those stuffs, these stuffs nowadays, but I don't know these stuffs. It's okay. Give yourself time, have some patience, everything you will be able to learn very much clearly, right? So with this, I would like to end this particular session. Hope this roadmap is pretty much helpful for everyone. And in the very next video, we will start our maths portion as I told you. And then step by step, we will keep on moving towards each and every aspect of this particular life cycle, right? So with this, I would like to end this session. Do like it, share with your friends, whosoever required this knowledge, and do subscribe my channel. It really means a lot to me. Bye-bye everyone.